Okay.
Hey, welcome to 100 Yards of Football. And this is our legend segment for this evening. Hey, man, I got a special guest for you today. The 1980 FSU track team who finished third in the nation. That's right, we finished third in the nation, and we should have won it all.
Yeah, we was close.
Welcome to the show. 10,000 meter runner, Herb Wills. We got Palmer Simmons, 800, 400-meter specialist. We have Walter McKoy, the beast. I call him the beast. He's like a madman.
That's the man.
400-meter specialist. And we have Ron Nelson, 400-meter specialist. And Mychal Roberson can do it all from hurdles to the 100 meters to 200. He was the beast. And
wait, we got to correct him. I couldn't do the 400.
No, you wouldn't do the 400. No, you wouldn't.
Very capable.
Yeah, wouldn't.
Yeah, he was capable.
And the guy who kept us all together, Coach Dick Roberts. Guys, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Glad to see everybody.
Hey, Palmer, just like you said, it's been a long time, right?
It's been a while.
We got a few gray hairs, a few pounds on us now.
Hey, look, I ain't mad now one bit. I'll take it off.
Hey, everybody, Walt's still training there.
I saved, so I got rid of mine for the show.
Look, Walt, I'm gonna say it right now. We're gonna give Walt the prize for still looking the same.
Well, thank you.
We're gonna give Walt the prize. Ron, you get second.
Well, thank you.
The rest of us will fall in line.
Hey, Coach look great now. Coach look great.
Yeah, man.
Coach looks fantastic.
Coach is holding it down.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Hey, listen,
man. Great to
Before,
see you.
before we get started, I just want to say that all our love going out to the Bowden family tonight.
Yes.
We just lost Coach Bowden Sunday morning.
Right.
And so we just want to send our prayers out and thoughts out to you guys and just know that we love you. We're thinking about you. And some of us will do this weekend. So I want to
Amen.
Yeah.
So listen, man. Oh my God. We got some.
Bobby, let me say something about Coach Bowden.
Okay, go ahead.
Known somewhat to you guys and probably never thought about a whole lot. I was so fortunate that my entire head coaching career was spent with Bobby Butler as our head football coach. And he was so good to me that I just can't imagine. There always came a rub when you had football players that could help you on the track team when spring practice came. And generally speaking, from football coaches previously and around the nation, it was really hard on football players with people telling them, I don't know how you're going to make the team if you're out there running track. Although in the recruiting process, they had been told that they could run. Under Coach Bowden, that basically did not happen. He was so good to us, and not just with Bobby Butler and Ron Stark during you guys' era, but for years after that, the football players that I had that were mainstays on the track team was insurmountable benefit to us. And so my gratitude to him goes out from a different perspective than most, but it's something that I have always cherished and will never forget.
Well, I tell you, Coach, he was always a fair man, right?
Yeah, he was that.
And he always treated people with decency, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, I mean, what can you say about the guy? I mean, I got a million more stories about him, how good he was to me and good he was to my teammates and to everybody. I don't know if anybody,
Yeah. Oh,
I don't know if anybody who can say anything negative about that man.
yeah.
I will tell you a curious story about working with him. And we had a football player that some of you were teammates with, you all will remember, the name of Greg Allen.
Yeah.
Greg was from Milton, and small classification, and he had won the state in the long jump, but it wasn't very far, like 22 feet 6 inches or something like that. And he became a football player. Well, my deal with Coach Bowden, or his deal with me, was if he promised somebody they could do that, he was going to live up to that. But if somebody came out and they didn't have that agreement, well, they may or may not be able to miss spring practice. Well, Greg Allen came out as a freshman after spring practice, and we worked with him. He improved that long jump from 22.6 to 24.10.
Wow.
And
Nice.
champion, conference champion, and went to spring ball and came back after spring ball and finished out the season. Well, the next year came, and Greg ended up being about a 10-60-something 100-meter guy. But he was a great starter, and he was good on the turn. And so he earned a spot that next year on the 4x1. And he was also long jumping, and he had learned to triple jump. And so he tells me about the time spring practice is ready to start. Coach, I just like to go to the track. Well, he didn't have that. So he said, you know, I said, well, I'll go talk to Coach Bowden. Well, I didn't go talk to him. I didn't know what to do. And he was so good to me, I didn't know to ask him. So it comes the day before spring practices to start. And I get a call in my office from Sue Hall, Coach Bowden's secretary. She said, Coach Bowden wants to see you. Well, I thought, sure as the devil, I'd done something wrong. I didn't know what it was. Anyway, I go down to see him, and he tells me, he says, how's Greg Allen doing? So I said, well, man, he's doing great. He's jumping, he's running, he's going to be on the 4x100 this year. And he said, well, he said, I've been doing a lot of thinking. He said, we got a chance to be pretty good football team next year, but he said, we're thin at running back. And he said, you know, I just have nightmares about him hurting the knee in spring practice and us going without him. He said, you know, he set the national freshman rushing record as a freshman. And he said, you know, if he doesn't get any better than he was last year, and he held his hand up, he just comes back this much faster. He said, he's going to be pretty good. So he said, I just like to play with you.
Wow.
That's okay, Coach. We love that. So he calls the running back coach in and tells him what he's going to do and what does he think. What's that? It's Nick Kish. Well, what's that guy going to do? Oh, Coach, I got to have it. You're ruining spring practice. Yeah, whatever you want to do, Coach. So Greg comes out to practice, and he says, what did he say? Like I'd gone to talk to you. I didn't say anything. I just said, he said, you're with me. I didn't tell him. I didn't talk to him. I never told him that story. That's
Coach,
the kind of guy he was.
Yeah, I tell you what, you know, from former players, we know, especially guys who play skill position, we don't need to be doing all that hitting all the time, right?
Right.
But you know, coaches like Coach Jack Stanton, man, he didn't want to hear that, right? He just think you got to be out here to get better and better and better. But I'm like, no, let me give my hamstrings a rest from all that backpedaling. Let me start moving forward a little bit. You know, that'll help me out during the spring. And I know during my time, I got faster. You know, running with you guys and coming out the blocks. I think when I showed up, I was like running like a 4.4 to 40. But when I left, I was running low 4.3s. So that helped my NFL status big time.
Yeah. All those grass rides.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Mm-hmm. So listen, guys. So let's talk, man, because one of the things I got to say about the guys in this room, Herb, I didn't know you before I went before the stage. Yeah. But Ron Nelson, Walter McKoy, the Johnson twins, and Mychal Roberson. Let me tell you something, man. The first time I saw y'all run in Winter Park at the state track meet, I was shaking, man. I was shaking. I was like, these guys are really fast. And it didn't help. It didn't help, Palmer, that Mac Tier broke the world record in the 100-yard dash. And I'm sitting up in the stands like, man, I can't do this right now. So, Coach, talk about, if you would, briefly, about the talent, the recruiting pool in the state of Florida, as far as sprints was concerned back in that time.
I'm trying to think back. That was the era. The year that Mike and the Johnson twins, just before him, Don Merrick and James Brown.
James Brown.
Kind of
Jesse.
All you guys. That was the time that the state of Florida broke through on the national scene. Always people had talked about Texas and California. Well, that was the era that the state of Florida became equal as far as sprint talent to Texas and California. And they never stepped back.
Right.
Did you see Olympic Games? High school kid from Hillsborough High in Tampa made the finals in the 200.
Yeah.
Darian Knight. It's then the talent pool in the state of Florida. It would just take more time than we had to go back through the years and all the great sprinters that have come out of the state of Florida since that time. But you guys were like Jackie Robinson breaking the color line in baseball. You broke the sprint line nationally with the state of Florida becoming nationally equal to any other state and on an annual basis.
Well, I tell you,
the talent pool in Florida remains.
Right.
It's not going to go away.
That's cool. Well, I tell you something. It got scary when I first showed up on the scenes, and then my senior year, I'm running against Ron, and Ron didn't know that we ran the finals in the 220 together. And I'm ahead of Ron. I think I'm in lane 4 or 5. Ron was in lane 2. And the guy from Lake Wells, I can never call his name, he was behind me. And I know the fast guys were behind me, Palmer. So there's this guy up in lane 6 that was running like a 9.4, 9.300. I said, if I just pace off with him, he'll be my rabbit. Man, I come up that curve smoking, and my coach said to me, Bobby, you got it. And I'm running. I don't hear nobody. I don't see nobody. And then I got cute. I got cute. I broke down the last 5 yards, and here comes Ron, the guy from Bartow, the guy from Lake Wells. Behind Ron in the group, man. But I tell you, I learned something that night. You got to run through the tape.
It ain't over till it's over.
It ain't over till it's over. You got to run through the tape.
Yeah.
So, Ron, tell me about your experience at Rockledge, because you guys had a great program at Rockledge. Tell me a little bit about running in mid-Florida, the competition you had down there at Rockledge.
Wow, it was a lot of rich competition. I mean, every week there was someone. And, I remember we talked a while back, Bobby, about that crazy time that I ran. And you reminded me, I had a little wind behind it. It was Satellite Beach 9-2. There was a good wind behind me.
Oh my God.
And I was a skinny little kid. But yeah, the competition was rich. I think it really got serious that senior year when I ran into Walter and Cyril White. I don't know if you guys remember.
I remember Cyril.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't run the quarter until my senior year, at least twice. And then my coach, Coach Bob, Coach Jackson, you got to run against McKoy. So that's when I ran against McKoy and Cyril White, but there was some rich talent there.
Oh, it was hot, man. Because I know when I saw Walt run, I'm going, my God, how do you run like that, man? How do you run like that? And so, go ahead, Walt.
Well, I'll tell you, I believe my coaches. They told me stuff that I'm supposed to be able to do, and I followed them. Like Coach Roberts told me all those things I can do, and I believed them. I believed them. all the workouts. He said, "This is what we're working for. This is what we're trying to get." Yeah. Now I know that. Now I know that now.
The proof is in the pudding, though.
I know. I was so naive.
The proof is in the success, though, Walt.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
let me tell you.
They didn't leave me wrong.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know, when you run track, you're told so many different things, you know, like you got to be flexible, you know, you got to do this, you got to do that. Well, you may have been the tightest guy I ever seen. Because you put your leg down flat on the ground, man.
I don't know. I still can't explain it myself. Everything just worked from, you know, from everybody helping. We had hard practices. We ran sometimes in practice faster than some people ran in meets.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
We were so competitive.
Very competitive.
No, you. You wasn't going to pass all the practice now.
Well, so I tell you, you guys were a special group because, Coach, tell me if I'm wrong now. We had about 5 or 6 quarter milers that could run 46 or better. Am I right in saying that? I mean, how fast was Ross, Reggie Ross?
Yeah.
I mean, he can run a 46, couldn't
he? He was 46. Yeah, he could in the relay. He absolutely could.
Right.
Ron Walt, we had Lynn Brown.
Yeah. Palmer
could also run a good quarter, and Palmer and Walt. Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, we took Lynn Brown with us that year, and when Ron hurt his leg in the first round, Ron Mooney worked on him, and he told Ron and I both that he could go the next day.
Right.
And I should have known, but I should have run Lynn that second day. You know, they don't do that anymore, but I should have run Lynn that second day, and then Ron could have come back the third day.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We made I mean, we set the Memorial Stadium record in the first round.
Yeah.
We set the stadium record.
I remember
in the first round. So, if we could have just made it through the second round, we'd have been fine in the final. That's my dog.
That's okay.
I've added up those points. If we'd have won the fourth, we still wouldn't have won the meet. We'd have got second.
Right.
We wouldn't have won. The way we could have, I've looked back on it. We could have won the meet that year. At number one, I'd have had to do that with Lynn Brown the second round. Number two, I'd have had a redshirt Bradley Cooper in '79.
Yeah.
I redshirted Cooper in '79.
Right. Yeah.
His senior year in '80, we could have won the national championship
because he would have got 10 points.
I don't think anybody expected us out of us.
Yeah.
You know, let me say this: we were getting ready to go out there, and is Mike still with us?
I think we lost Mike.
We lost Mike. I can't see him in the.
Yeah,
he's
lost.
not on.
Yeah, I'm
he's coming back.
He's trying to get back now.
But anyway, Mike came up to me in a low voice. He just said, "Deuce is mine." He said James Sanford was his big competition. He said, "I watched Sanford on TV. He looked ragged."
And he was. And he was.
And he was. Right.
He was.
But
yeah,
he was.
We were getting ready to go out there. We had a jumper in Leon. And, we had all these sprint points. And Dr. Wills came to me, and Herb was qualified to go out there. And Dr. Wills came to me, and he said, Herb thinks he can get us some points out there, too. And I said, well, if he's got that kind of attitude, I'm betting that he will.
That's right.
And he did.
He sure did.
You know, and sometimes I don't think I ever told Herb this story, but one of the UTEP guys came up to me because they had all those
guys, right?
distance runners, and Herb was the first American to cross the finish line, fourth
Right.
place.
Yeah.
There were three Kenyan runners. They had
Right.
He said, well, and they had a couple hurt. They said, well, if so-and-so hadn't been hurt, your guy wouldn't have been placed. And I said, yeah, and if we had only American athletes, he'd have been the national champion.
Yeah.
That guy. Anyway.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
That's a good one, yeah.
That's a good one.
Herb was as big a that effort as anybody else.
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, so Herb, tell us about that, man. How do you know, we're all sprinters in the room, and these guys, I know Palmer ran the 800, and Walter and Ron ran the quarter. But man, how do you train for the 10K? How do you do that, man?
You run a lot. Not much to it. It's we put in a lot of miles out in the forest, all us distance guys.
Right.
And we weren't working much with Coach Robertson. He had been the distance coach before he was head coach, though, and I had run with some of those guys in the past. Mm-hmm. And one of them was telling me on this long run out in the forest how he had was not feeling well one time, and he told Coach that, and Coach said, "Well, go to the 10-mile mark." Mm-hmm. So he said, "Okay, I can hang him to the 10-mile mark." And he got there, and Coach wasn't there. He had to go the full 15.
Hey, that sounds like a real coach right there.
I'll be waiting. Yeah.
That sounds like a real coach right there, boy. Get the most out of it. So Palmer, I mean, you go from, and this was a shock to me. And I don't know if you had an experience in this personally before, but you run the 400. When I first got on the team, you run the 400, you run the 4x4, and then all of a sudden they put you in the 800. And not only did you participate, I mean, you got points, man. You did well at the 800. What was that like for you? And how did you get ready for that, going from the quarter to the 800?
I mean, it's really about the coaching and the team. I mean, when you have quarter milers, a group of quarter milers that we had, our quarter mile group ran in and everything. Yeah. I mean, I happen to be, I guess, a little more of a middle distance up. Mm-hmm. I mean, where Walter was everything from everything, wherever. Ron was sort of 400 down, and so training with guys like that, and then, speed workout, moving, and 800 just wasn't foreign to me. I had a good, easy kind of stride, I guess I was told, once again, Walter, they told us, they told us, Walt, right? Yeah. I was willing to give it a shot. And as it turned out, I think I did have some success, at the 800. I mean, yes, you did. At least the one good revelation was that I broke a long-standing school record at the time, so that felt good. But it led some success, so it was good. But I mean, I can tell you, it was a good transition, and basically the work ethics with the guys on the team, man, was just, they wasn't a harder working group of guys anywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. I mean, like Walt was just saying earlier, we ran fast at practices. Some people ran in meets at times. Yeah. So, man, it was easy. I mean, we had the team, and Bob, I guess to answer your one question about the 800, and just to say, I mean, I can tell you, coming to Florida State after my roundabout, and the coaching style of Coach Roberts was like night and day. After having worked under Brooks Johnson, who I think most of you guys got to meet, at some point. Coach Roberts, got to meet Brooks a little bit. Most of the runners got to know Brooks. Brooks was a pure hatchet man as far as workout.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Brooks, if you wasn't about to throw up at the end of practice, Brooks figured you didn't work out. Coach Roberts was totally different, even though we had tough workouts. I mean, he believed, one thing I recognized about Coach Roberts knew he had the best talent in the world. Yes. And he just needed his talent to be ready to run.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I got. That's what I got from Florida State. I mean, Coach he had some horses, as we say. He wanted his horses ready to run. He didn't need them. He didn't need them hurried up from this and hurried up from that. And I can tell you, I mean, we put out a whole lot more as workouts than Coach Roberts ever expected of us. I mean, we just that this team that you're looking at right here, man. I mean,
but
it ain't got any better.
Yeah, it's a special group. I remember because I never got a chance to train with you guys preseason track. I was playing football, and when I came, Coach was putting with you guys trying to catch me up. Like, you can't do that, man. I can't run these guys. I'll be running the quarters.
Did a good job.
Training.
Oh yeah.
I'll be so far behind trying to keep up with you guys. I'll never forget it, man. I'll never forget it. So listen, so we got our ace diamond on the show. He back, Mychal Roberson, and Mike. I'll tell you something, man. I saw you run when I was a 10th grader. You won the high hurdles. And after you finished the high hurdles, you walked back the 100-yard dash.
Started at
9-2. Finished second with 9-2 behind James Brown. As a matter of fact, you could have took pocket change out of his back pocket. It was like that, right? and then the most amazing thing, I saw McKoy run the 100 and break the record the day before. And so, but when I saw Mike run the 220-yard dash, I said to myself, he will tear McKoy up in the 220. I've never seen nothing like that in my life. That was a special race. You won that race. And I think you ran, if I'm not mistaken, I think you ran like a 20.6 or 20.5.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, that's what it was.
Something like that.
Somewhere right up in that area.
It was beautiful, crazy, man. And so I'm a little snot-nosed 10th grader, man, thinking, man, I can't compete on these levels. Right? I can't compete, man. And so it was all special, man, watching you guys coming up through the state from high school. And then when I got to college, I had no idea. I never thought I would be on the track team. And so what happened, guys, the end of my sophomore year, spring football practice was over. And me and my roommate, Walter Carter, y'all remember Big Walt?
Yeah, I remember Carter.
We used to go to the basketball gym, and shoot hoop at Tully. And so we go to Tully, nobody's in the gym. So we're like, where's everybody at? So we look across the street, and they had intramural track.
Yeah.
And so I said, let's go, man. I said, I'm a long jump, man. I'm a long jump. And went down the long jump pit and jumped, and Coach Roberts standing right there. He said, I need you on the track team. and Walt, this is the funniest thing, right? When he said that, I got it straight immediately. I said, well, if you talk about jump, but I ain't running with those guys you got. Because I said that immediately, right? I'm not running.
But I'll jump.
I'll jump. But I tell you, I gained so much by being on the team with you guys. And it was different from football, guys. One of the things, I never forget my first meet, we ran the indoor meet at LSU. And we got in the van. And we drove to LSU. Now, you know, football, we fly everywhere.
Right, yeah.
So I'm like, what is this? So we went in the van, and the whole way from Tallahassee to Baton Rouge, Walter McKoy sang all the way.
I was trying to do homework.
You know what I remember about that? He had music. He has playing music and singing the music, and he had the pads over his ears, and he couldn't hear himself. We had to listen to it.
It was a long trip.
It was a long trip.
Seemed longer.
It was a long trip. But that was fun. And then we had a
lot of long trips.
We had a lot of trips. But when we got to Baton Rouge, I'll never forget this either. We got to Baton Rouge, got to the hotel. Coach Roberts gave us our per diem and the keys to the van and said, I'll see y'all tomorrow. And I'm like, we don't have curfew?
I remember that.
I'm like, tripping. And Michael said, we ain't got no curfew. I go, man.
But we all did the right things. We all did the right things because we knew we wanted to run.
I was the leader. I always did the right thing for the team.
Right.
Hey,
Right.
Hey, Mike. I remember you at Austin, Texas. Now, don't have me telling this shit.
Okay, wait, okay, Palmer. Hey, Palmer, you was with me, so we not gonna agree with that.
I hear you, Mike. I hear you. Look, that's all I'm saying. I hear you. I ain't going no further.
Yeah, I'm not sharing any of Mike's stories. None.
So can we don't talk about those scores now?
None.
So Mike, Mike. So tell us about when you went to the Nationals that year, in 1980. We had all these sprinters across the country, man. They were pretty good, from James Mallett to the guy from USC. Stanley Floyd was a true freshman that year. You had Darren Nelson from Stanford. You had the guy from UTEP. I think I forget his name, but he won it 100 the year before. I mean, we had all these monsters. Foster who won the 200 the year before. But you went out there and had a great track meet. Talk to us a little bit about the 100 to 200 while you were there.
Well, when I got there, running that summer internationally, it built my confidence back up. And Coach Roberts and I had talked early that season, and Coach told me, since I qualified for the 200, he's not going to let me run an open 200 until I run 46 or better in the quarter. And I did it at Texas Relay. And at the end, and I'll tell you something really funny happened. Coach Roberts already been to Texas, getting us ready. Right. Coach Brogan, that was there. And Coach Roberts was going to stack the mile relay, remember, Coach? And Coach Brogan said, Coach, I think we need to put him at 200. He running 300s, and he coming through 20 points at the 300s and laughing and joking at everybody. And that's when Coach Roberts said, you're running it. And then when I got there, all these big names, big name track and everything. But with me, with the team members I had, we always had each other back.
Yeah.
I remember the Walter came to me, that Walt got Robertson, you got it. You can get it, Robertson. You can get it. You'll get it. For my first round of 200, I ran 20 points. I ran 19 something. I freaked out like, whoa. And who was the trainer we had then, Coach, who went with us?
Moon? Was that Moon?
Yeah, Moon. Moon through all the training stuff up in the air and everything. He was so excited. So I came back and I said, wow, I ran 19. Can I be? The second time I ran 20.08 and slowed up. So the finals came up. And when they put Stanford in front of me, I said, okay,
that's what you wanted.
I know I can run a fast curve.
Right.
Yeah.
But I got to say something. So I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like Walter do in the quarter. Excuse my voice, y'all. I had surgery. I'm going to do like Walter in the quarter. Let your component make their move, then you make your move. So I caught him real early, the first 6 of y'all, and rolled on his shoulder. So when he hit his gear, I know he didn't have another gear. So I just smiled and said, I got you. And believe it or not, as I finished the 200, I think Walter and Palmer was the first person that got it.
Yeah.
And I kept asking him,
there's no doubt to us.
None whatsoever.
And you can see on national TV, Walter Word said, you dummy. You won. I said, I won.
He done given everything he had.
You won, yeah.
Yeah. He was out. He was like, he gave it everything he had. He didn't know he won the race. Yeah.
I tell you, it was a beautiful race. And I remember when you came off that curve, and he tried to hit a gear, and he didn't have one, and you had another gear. And next thing you know, all y'all was together. Next thing you know, you were 5-6 meters in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And then you were just striding it out. You were just finishing the race. I mean, it was a beautiful race. I look at that race. I got a copy of that race. I look at it all the time. because that was a special race that day.
Well, Bobby, let me tell you about that race. When I was running that race, when I got like 10, 20 yards from the finish,
There's
the thing I started praying was, Lord, don't let me pull.
Let me stay intact.
I said, Lord, don't let me pull.
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you how Mike lived up to his word.
Uh-huh.
I remember a conversation he had one time. What was the name of our girl, Randy?
Givens.
Randy Moss.
She
Randy
won
Givens.
200 in nationals.
Randy Givens.
What was her name? Randy
Givens. Randy Givens.
No, a girl.
Yeah, that's her name, Randy. That was her name.
So she and Mike were discussing in practice, and Mike told her because she would kind of come down the stretch and just with the same face and the same position and never really got it out. And Mike told her, he said, if you're going to be as good as you want to be, you got to get ugly. You got ugly and just go after it.
That is true. That is true.
And if you see a picture, of Mike hitting that finish line in Austin, he was ugly. He had that face.
Head going side to side.
He was going to get it. And we were there with him. It took me a little while to get around to the track to him. And he walked up to me, put our arms around each other, and he said one word. He said, finally. Remember that? You said finally. Finally.
Oh, yeah.
He had won a national championship because he got that.
Because he got the FSU. Wow. Well, I tell you what.
Something else about that. It wasn't just. It was several sprinters in the field. Sanford was one of them.
Butler. James Butler.
James Butler, yeah. James Butler.
Madonna.
Yep.
But we came out that day, and in the 4x1. 20 minutes later, Mike ran 25 minutes later, ran the semifinal of the 200. Ran 1996, and that was the first human being in the world ever to break 20 seconds flat at sea level. It was wind-aided, but not by much. It didn't matter. Nobody had ever done it, wind-aided or not.
Oh, wow.
25 minutes after that, they ran the final of the 200. So all of that took place in less than 1 hour on a day when they canceled the steeplechase until later in the evening because the humidity and heat factor they tested on the track, they deemed it too dangerous to run the steeplechase, and they ran those sprinters, those 3 races inside of an hour. That was they would. Let me tell you all something about the way they do track and field today.
Oh yeah, babies.
You go to nationals,
babies.
Nationals, they have an East Coast, an East and a West region, and you go out and you run 2 rounds. There's no finals.
Yeah.
There's just the people that qualify and the people that don't. You have to make a time to qualify during the year. Then you go to the region, and they'll get down to so many heats, and I think they take 8 out of each region to the final. And so when you get to the nationals, there's only 16 people left, and you run 1 qualifying round.
Oh, wow,
That's
really?
it.
Babies.
Run 3.
Wow.
They were babies.
1 qualifying round, and that's it. And now, when we did that in Austin, there was only men. Only men. Now you have men and women, so there's more rest in between.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a totally different deal now. Totally different. You only have 2 races to run at nationals.
Wow.
Oh, I know, and I would run 9 races. I run 9 races at NCAA for 4 years, because we ran the 4x1 and come right back and ran the 400.
Right.
400. And then
right back. Come right back to back.
Exactly right.
And it was 3 days in a row, right?
Yeah, 3 days in a row.
Saturday. Man, that's a lot of running.
3 days in a row.
The saving grace, they had so many heats. They had a number of different, they had quite a few heats back then.
Yeah, man.
You had to make it through.
In the heat. Yeah.
You had to make it through to the next day. You had to make it through to the next day.
Wrong in what I said. Now they have a 4-day meet, and they run the men's trials on one day, and then they have
and then the
4
girls.
days rest.
Then the girls. The next day.
They run the women's trials the next day. They have a full day rest and run the finals. The next year, they'll run women first and men the second day. They alternate. But you run one round, then you got a whole day's rest to come back and run one.
Oh, wow.
That would have been a breeze.
That would have been good.
Well, they don't tell him what you would have ran on that.
I never ran a 400 fresh. I never ran a 400 fresh, Coach. I always had to come back after that.
Excuse me.
Wow.
I never ran one fresh. I always was tired from the 4x1 because we qualified every year.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
We qualified every year.
So listen, guys. So we just finished our Olympics, the 2020 Olympics. I guess that's what they call it, right?
Right.
What did y'all think? What did y'all think? How do we do? What's our future? America's future in track and field. Coach, what do you think?
We was hurting. I can say that.
The future is great, but I have to agree with Lewis. That performance on the 4x1 was totally unacceptable. The personnel was set up wrong. The exchanges were practiced. There was no leadership. It was an embarrassment.
Embarrassment.
You guys that have run
to the country.
Sprinters. That was and it was the 4th time in 5 Olympics we've done that.
Right.
Oh,
the 4th time in 5 Olympics done that.
Yeah.
That was the worst.
It was a total embarrassment. Now that's that event. And nobody could feel worse than the poor fellas that were in.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
The future of USA track and field is obviously outstanding. Obviously it's great. Obviously it's great. All of the training, they have training advantages and so forth. And Walt, having run internationally as much as you did, and Mike, you were there, what we joked about as coaches for a number of years after you guys left, that a few guys after, even at the time you guys were doing it, it wasn't the guy with the best coach or the most talent. It was the guy with the best pharmacist.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean by that.
Yeah. They did.
Oh yeah.
Well, Mike and I can actually tell you.
They test for performance.
Well, Mike and I can tell you for over in Europe. Remember, Mike, the year we went, they would tell us which place you got, who they was testing. And so some of the guys who didn't want to finish first or third, they was making sure that they didn't finish in those spots if they was testing that.
Wow.
You know, remember, Mike?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, they were like, we were like, why is they standing up straight and making sure that they didn't finish in that place?
Oh wow.
It was remarkable.
Wow.
They tell us right before we ran, we're going to do the 4th place and 2nd place. And Mike and we was trying to win every one of them.
I know that's
because we didn't care. They could test us all day.
That's all right. Exactly.
They could test us all day.
But see, Walt, I got it wrong. And one meet, I thought they said they was testing my bank account, so I got paid.
I hear you, boy. But yeah, man. I tell you what, it's always fun for me to watch the Olympics and enjoy it. But I just thought that I was thinking personally. I didn't know much about what we had out there this year. I did know the guy. What's the kid who finished second in the 100 meters? I knew he was
he was a quarter miler.
Yeah, I saw him. He's from Arkansas, right? He went to the
Yeah. He ran the quarter last year.
I seen him a few years ago. He was a great quarter miler, man.
He was an excellent quarter miler.
Mm-hmm. And so I thought we would win the 200, but you know.
No, because I believe that the Canadian, he has a lot of experience. He got injured, but he has a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
And, he's very strong at the end. Mm-hmm. And when I see him run the curve, I knew he was going to win it. Mm-hmm. I knew he was going to win it.
Well, and the other important part was our guy did not get ugly at all. He had no ugly in him at all. I mean, he didn't, not one time during the whole time, run it all the way out. I mean, you know, he never ran it out. He always held back on his final approach to the finish line. And when he needed to do it, he couldn't do it. He couldn't find it.
Yeah,
it was gone.
It was gone, man.
That's exactly how you lose races.
Right. Yeah.
I just told you about mine earlier, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Being cute, not ugly. Oh, that's awesome, man. Hey,
I'll tell you about something.
Some good sprint performances, but for some reason, as a group, our sprinters just didn't look ready. They just didn't look ready.
Not at all.
Watching the Olympic trials and then watching them over there, they weren't the same. They weren't the same. I don't know what it was. I wasn't there.
Coach, I think what it was.
They were not the.
Well, I think what it was. I think the media got in their head. Instead of they concentrating on their race, they was concentrating trying to be showboats and trying to be this instead of being what they are, athletes. And see, when we went to meets, we was the only thing we thinking about, you know, we got to get it, you know. And most of our athletes, then, you know, someone like, you know, Palmer, he was the only one from out of the state of Florida, but, you know, we adopted him. But we all had that type of, we didn't care. If somehow was fast for us, we didn't care. We gonna go get you. Yeah. And then what it was when we all got to Florida State, Coach Roberts had that attitude that he taught us to be proud of us, who we were.
Yeah.
He never let us back down to anything.
Right.
In practice, if we gonna come out, Coach, we ran the hill. Shoot, I bet you $50 we can run 49. And one time the twins said that, Coach, you reached in his pocket and threw a $50 bill in the pot on the track, said, let's do it. we all got upset. You know, because the thing about it was, if we was in practice, if you was like lacking off, the other teammate, come on, man, get up. No, you got to finish. You got to finish.
Yeah.
We always talk to each other about it. You know, finish. Always push each other. And we just get mad at each other and everything. Because Ron, come on, Mike, get up. I said, Ron, I'm older than you. Ron, I'm older than you. The thing about Ron is, Ron wasn't no tall sprinter. You don't know how fast he's going.
That's right.
Y'all know the hardest thing I had to do is getting the baton for Ron, because he don't look like he running. Then all of a sudden, he up on you.
On top of you.
and then you panic and say, oh, I can't let Ron run over my back because I look like I'm slow.
Well, listen, the problem with getting the baton from Mike is I always started 2 steps before he got to the line because I knew he was going to catch me. No matter what. I couldn't let lead when he got to the line. It had to be 2 steps before because I had to judge his speed. And we always had great handoffs, did we, Mike?
Oh, y'all did.
We always had great handoffs because I was scared to death. Because he told me he was going to run over my back.
Right.
He told me that. He said, I'm going to run over your back.
Yeah, I don't remember us ever having a bad exchange.
We never did.
I want to talk about that spirit that you brought to the church. Walker, you remember when your freshman year, you walked up to Willie Smith?
Yeah,
and you just told him flat out, I'm coming for you.
I didn't know that then.
It didn't matter.
I was naive.
It didn't matter.
I didn't know.
Anybody know, guys? Does anybody know Does anybody know what actually happened to Kevin Johnson?
I don't know, Coach.
I know he's deceased.
I just heard he
know what
passed.
happened. I don't.
Yeah, I can't really tell you. I know he was sick, got an ailment, and I know he passed like that.
Have you ever heard anything?
Yeah. That's all I heard too. That he had gotten sick with I thought it was a cancer or something.
Yeah, I think that's what I heard. It was cancer.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah, I didn't hear
and then I heard about Willie Smith also. Willie Smith passed away about 2 months ago. Willie Smith, the guy we was just talking about.
Really?
Yes, he passed away about 2 months ago.
Wow.
In New York somewhere.
Willie Smith from Auburn.
Oh,
Yes, from Auburn. Passed away about 2 months ago. Maybe almost 3 months now.
Wow.
Wow. Young.
Wow, that's tough. Hey, man. That's tough,
60.
Man.
He was about 60.
Yeah, and these days, man, we got to be careful. I mean, I know we're getting older, and I know, as you get older, you're gonna experience more people leaving here. But man, I participated last year in over 10 funerals.
Wow.
10, and only one died from COVID. And so, I mean, it's a praying time. It's a witnessing time. It's a time to get things in order if things are not in order, because, man, people are leaving here left and right, man.
Yeah.
Just like that. No doubt about it. So, yeah, man. So, listen, one thing I can say with you guys, man, being on the football team, football was totally different, right? You had all those rules. You had to be here. You had all this kind of crazy stuff, right? And so it was so good. It was like having just having a fresh breath of air. Being with you guys on the road. You guys were very professional.
Yeah.
One of the things I can say on a football team, y'all know this, you're gonna have a lot of knuckleheads. You can't trust the whole football team with not having a curfew. I'm just telling you. And so when I got with you guys, man, you guys took care of business. We got to rest. We got to rest at night.
Yeah, we went to bed.
Now, after the meet, Mike may go out a little bit. After the meet.
But not before.
It was so good.
But see, you're thinking about I go after the meet because I was recruiting.
Oh,
yeah. For himself.
That was what
For
you was
himself,
doing.
but that's okay. We won't talk about that.
No, see. Okay, Bobby, let me tell you the secret one. Coach Roberts let us go out because he knows if you did something wrong, he gonna have you bring back until his two best friends, Ralph and Earl. And Coach Roberts always threatened me with the mile relay thing. Don't run the mile relay. And you ever notice this? Coach never would run me first because he know my boss is out. And you think about it, and takes the relay, he ran me second lane. Second lane, you got to brake for the curve, And for me being very competitive, got in there and I said, don't care about you don't want to run, but your competitor come out of it. And you don't want anybody to beat you. So I was running with them. I said, man, they running first 200. So in the last curve, I took off running. Everybody cheering for me and everything. I was like, shoot, I can like this. But I thought about it. I ain't more than McKoy. Learn your limit. The 100. A lot of people don't understand this. When I came to Florida State, they recruited me as a hurler. Remember that, Coach?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hurler.
I was a hurler. In my sophomore year, I got injured, and they started running me, sprinting me to get me back in shape. But I went to Drake relays, won Drake relays.
Yeah.
After that, I was classed as a sprinter.
Because I wonder about that. Because, I know when I started in high school, you were the best hurdler in the nation.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got on the track team, you were not running the hurdles no more.
Yeah, because that's the reason.
Let me tell you
one of the reasons I didn't go to University of Florida.
the true story.
One of the reasons I go to University of Florida Because Brooks was my recruiting job, and Brooks said, you can be a good intermediate hurler.
Into that conversation.
Yeah. And then when I came to Florida State, they said, Michael, we got Jesse, and we get Don. We don't need you for a sprinter. You can be a hurler. I said, okay then. But the coach didn't tell me my first indoor meet. He said, you know that you're running a mile relay. I said, I'm running a what? Relay. It was on a small track. We never ran indoors on small track. He said, you got to go 2 laps and a half. I'm saying, Coach, this is too much math. Coach said, just don't let nobody pass you.
Hey, Mike, I gotta tell you this, man. So my last year there, we lose the Orange Bowl, and we had no chance to win a national title in football. So I'm upset, right? I'm upset.
I think this house is right there.
I don't go to track practice. I'm just sitting in my room drinking tequila, right? And one night, Coach Roberts knocked on the door. I'm on my Sherlin's house, my wife now, my girlfriend at the time. At her place, Coach knocks on the door. I didn't know it was him, but we opened the door. I'm sitting there with a glass in my hand, right? And he said, but we need you this weekend. You go run the 4x4. I said, Coach, I can't run no 4x4. It was like five days after the Orange Bowl, right? And so I hadn't even been to track practice. He said, we need you this weekend. I said, okay, I can't let the guys die. I'll go. So I get in the meet, and I run a 4x4, Mike. I get a baton, and I said, well, you got to pace yourself now because, this is a quarter, right? You're in this shape. And, man, I got around that turn and a half, and I said, I better hit it now. And I tried to hit it, and I didn't have nothing to go. And next thing I know, the guy from Oklahoma passed me, and they just beat me in the Orange Bowl. I wanted to take the stick and throw it at him in the back of the head. And I said, man, I can't do that. I better come to track practice and get myself there. I'll never forget that, man. I'll never forget that. Hey, listen, man. Hey, listen, guys. We have to do this again, man. Because it's been far too long that we haven't seen each other. And I know we haven't seen each other in a group like that.
No.
Probably since 1980.
Right.
To be honest with you, Herb, I can't remember last time I saw you.
Yeah.
Carmen's been a while. I've seen Walt on occasion. I haven't seen Ron since college, basically. I see Michael, in Atlanta, so I run into Michael every now and then somewhere. Yeah, I see Coach Roberts every now and then too. But man, we got to do this. We got to do this more often, man, and have some fellowship like this.
All right.
And laugh about these old days, man. Hey, let me say this real quick before we go. Walter McKoy, a gold medal winner in 1984 Olympics 4x4.
Yes, sir.
But we got one in the room.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
So listen, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks for being with us. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show tonight. FSU 1980 from Stirring the Nation. Here's my guys, Walter McKoy, Thomas Simmons, Herb Wills, Ron Nelson, Mychal Roberson, and the legendary coach. Guys, thank you again.
All right, guys. Good seeing everybody, man. Good seeing